What does this little button do?
He checked left.
Why don't you check it out, Chuck?
Now you're talking, little buddy.
I didn't see that, KITT.
Knight Rider, a shadowy flight into the dangerous world of a man who does not exist. Michael Knight, a young loner on a crusade to champion the cause of the innocent, the helpless, the powerless, in the world of criminals who operate above the law.
Welcome to Beyond the Night, brought to you by the GCRN and Audible.com. I am one of your hosts, Dave, Joe, and Mike, and joining me is Dion the Music Man. Hello.
Hello, how are you, good sir? Long time no recording.
Yes. The show has been on a slight hiatus due to impossible snowstorms and stuff getting stranded in the middle of nowhere with no food, no water, no nothing, It's not like we could just jump in KITT, get some hookers, and have a party or anything like that. So, but we are back, and we are better than ever. However, I do have to put a disclaimer to this episode of the podcast. Dion will be the only one talking about the second episode we'll be reviewing today, because Dead of Night, I currently do not have the Knight Rider Complete Series DVD set. I need to get it again, but shut the hell up. Asshole. The episode Dead of Night, which is supposed to be the 9th episode in Season 3, the 50th episode overall of Knight Rider Classic, is not in Netflix. I did not check iTunes, but I doubt it's there. It's not listed on any website. I couldn't find it on YouTube whatsoever, so I have no notes, no nothing. I'll be reading the synopsis, and I'll just be asking Dion, what do you got? Because I have not seen it.
We'll just go kind of short way through it, so that way we're not boring anybody with it. So, well, I didn't want to just do something. I actually was going to do this. Have you ever read those books, Sideways Stories from Wayside School? No, I've heard of them, but not read them.
Okay, there's this author, Louis Satchar. I think it's Satchar. I don't know. I've got the collection over there on my bookshelf. There's this book called Sideways Stories from Wayside School. The basic premise here is that it was supposed to be a single floor schoolhouse with 30 rooms, because it was supposed to be built one story. Mm-hmm. Well, instead, they didn't build it horizontally, they built it vertically. So it's 30 floors.
Oh, how funny.
And the problem is in one of the stories in the book, the teacher, Miss Jules, who teaches the class on the 30th floor, tells one of the children to take a note to Ms. Zarves on the 19th floor. Well, in the book, when that happens, you get, because each of the chapters are based on stories from whatever. All the kids are in the 30th floor classroom, but how the book is, it's supposed to represent one story from each story of the school. Mm-hmm. That's how it's supposed to be. Chapter 19. It says this in the book. It's one page. There is no 19th floor. There is no Ms. Zarves. Sorry. So I was thinking of when we got to Dead of Night, just saying there is no 9th episode of season 3. Sorry. And just from there.
You know what? That would have been quite funny.
Yes, it would have been, except I just explained the joke. But anyway, all right, so today we're going to be reviewing 3 more episodes of Knight Rider Classic Season 3. Hit the turbo boost, KITT.
It looks like heroin. It is heroin. I've been tailing this guy. The Foundation cannot operate above the law. I'm no longer working for the Foundation, remember? I'm on suspension.
I'm willing to pay you $50,000 for an hour's work.
I don't do your bidding anymore. I do my own. Don't. Back in the saddle. Butch and Sundance. Rock and roll.
Michael, KITT, no!
What do you want done?
Something dangerous?
But I cannot aid in anything that could jeopardize a human life. Michael, I can no longer support your actions.
Yeah, we're about to hit 3 feet of reinforced concrete wall. I'll abort if you say you can't do it.
First up tonight, or today, or whenever you find people listening to this, is Knight in Disgrace. Uh-oh. Word gets out when Michael is fired for drug possession and a crime boss, played by John Considine, recruits him to steal one-of-a-kind electronic key from Devon. Dun, dun, dun. First of all...
We'll see John later in Season 4.
Well, are you noticing something here within the series? They put people before you see them in their major roles. They did it with Ann Turkle, and now they're doing it with John here.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. Because most people will know John Considine's acting in this series from the Season 4 opener as the villain Philip Nordstrom.
Yeah.
With his plastic hardened shell hair. I don't know. You don't want to be using that for certain things.
No.
Talk about a Bobbit situation.
I knew there was a joke there. Oh, God.
Oh, God. And the bad thing about it is, the actor's name is John. Oh, God.
Dear.
All right, so Knight in Disgrace. Wow. Oh, boy. Good night, everybody. I really liked how different this episode was versus most of the generic one. Like, sure, this is technically a generic episode, but it's another one of those ones where it kind of, for me, it kind of fits into the overall continuity of the series because you have a critical thing happening here with Michael essentially getting fired, and you don't, as the viewer, you don't know what's going on. You're like, holy crap, what is this?
Yeah.
And then you get the bigger surprise when he kills Devon. Holy crap. Well, he supposedly
kills Devon.
It's made to look that he does.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, no, I love the plot in this. I thought it was great.
This was great, and also, besides the acting and the way that they did this, Don composed some excellent music for this, so... And all the music for all of the scenes went well with it.
Oh yeah,
it went really well with this. So this is a very good episode to watch because it keeps you on the edge of your seat. You do not want to get up when you're watching this unless you have a very big bowl of popcorn, and between the commercial breaks you can refill really fast.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on the plot?
The plot was well written. You don't find any boring spots in it. I do kind of find something disturbing though. It's a small nitpick, but and that it is trying to, because usually Michael briefs KITT on their mission. And in this case, it doesn't happen. So KITT has no idea. So...
Yeah, but that was explained, though.
Right. It's explained later it's explained later, but in the beginning, it's kind of like, okay, KITT's not really sure what to think here. All he knows is, all right, this is just very, in his wording, highly unorthodox. So,
right.
You're not really sure. He's not really sure what to think one way or the other.
Well, you got to think though. If you really want to analyze this episode, Devon says in the beginning that Michael had been following what's his name? Willis for the past 24 hours. Maybe the surveillance on him has been going on for 3 or 4 months. We've talked about this before. We don't know how far between assignments Michael goes. He could have, granted it's still within the same, like, whatever year it is inside the universe versus the actual air date year.
Right.
So he could have been on Willis 6 months. He could have been on him however long to try to get to this LaSalle character. So it could be a thing of, as it was revealed in the episode, where this was their plan all along and that they couldn't tell KITT and whatever. So maybe this had already, maybe this was already, kind of in the works besides just what we see.
Right. Yeah.
So, all right. We'll be back in a moment.
The only thing I got, pal, was a suspension.
A suspension? But how can that be?
Well, it's a long story. And I don't want to bore you with it. But I'm leaving.
Where are we going?
We aren't going anywhere. I'm going alone.
Alone? But Michael, we're a team.
Yeah, I know, but you belong to the Foundation.
But Michael, without you...
Yeah, I know, I feel the same way. Look, it's not over, huh? Not by a long shot. Till then, take care, huh?
So let's turn the scanners on. Of course, we already mentioned about Nordstrom before we ever see him. Well, LaSalle. We mentioned about John Considine. Whoa, Michael suspended. Boo. He shot Devon. No.
Yeah, I wrote both those notes down too. Yeah. And then one of my other notes was, "Say what?"
Yeah, what are they doing? This is... But again, that's what makes the episode so compelling. That's what sets it apart from something like Big Iron or something like Deadly Maneuvers or a generic weekly Night Rider. Even though this is essentially a one-off villain here, that's what sets this episode apart, is how the storytelling is done. And that's what I like about it. I thought it was so great, where it didn't give me the general feeling of, oh, great, another Knight Rider episode that really doesn't add anything to the overall characters or doesn't add anything to the overall mythos. What the hell? Devon was shot. Now I'm confused. And that happened when he shows up because obviously they faked it. So... It's very. I really enjoyed this episode. What are your thoughts on it?
I really like this one. I actually like the fact that one of the things I thought was, obviously, you talk about KITT getting overridden. His voice transmission was getting overridden, because LaSalle could tap into any computer in the world, as he shows Michael. And you hear LaSalle through KITT's voice modulator. And it's like, whoa, that's cool. But yet creepy at the same time.
That was very creepy.
So I liked that. And I did like the fact that in the end, Michael is able to finally tell KITT what is going on. Mm-hmm. Because KITT he couldn't, obviously his program is the preservation of human life. And it was really hard for him to just sit back as a computer, and just go and just wing it. Mm-hmm. So I really kind of thought that this episode was good. It had continuity. And I am actually glad that Devon and Michael reunited as well. So...
Yeah. I kind of figured the fix was in as soon like, because I was wondering, like, when he broke into the place, I'm like, who's the guy in the blue coat? And then obviously, you know, and it's a classic Michael Devon exchange at first, because it's like, what took you so long?
Yeah,
You know?
you had that facial expression of it took you this long to get here.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what's so great about this episode is because it, as I said before, it pulls you in. It gives you a really, really good story. It pulls you in, and then, it pulls off these shocking moments of, Michael's gone, Michael's done, Michael can do whatever the hell he wants, and blah, 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 blah. What I find interesting, and I guess maybe I should have brought this up in the plot, but what I find interesting is that the first job that LaSalle has him do, he pays him $50,000, and he said, if you're frugal, that'll last you 6 months. And I'm thinking $50,000 in the 80s compared to what $50,000 would be today, that would last you more than 6 months in the 80s. Even if you were, even if you splurged a bit.
Yeah, that would last you more in the 80s than it did it does today.
Yeah, that would last you a hell of a lot longer than 6 months. Granted, I guess coming from LaSalle's point of view, where he's, super rich and has everything, maybe coming from his point of view, maybe it would only last 6 months, but I thought that was a little interesting, so. Anything else for Scanners On?
The fact that, one of the facts that, we actually get to see we see KITT turbo boost. Well, we see him turbo boost in every episode. Unless you're looking at JYD. But the fact that after KITT is stolen, one of the things I do like is that we actually get to see cut scenes in this one, as in every other episode that we don't see on TV because they're cut for air restriction times.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that they get to this party that LaSalle is having, and Michael and KITT drive off, and you see Michael turbo boosting in KITT over on the grass and things, and the crowd is cheering, and then you get to see KITT dealing with the alligator.
Yeah.
So that was kind of neat. That was a neat thing to see and whatnot.
Oh, the other thing we need to talk about here, we almost missed it.
Oh?
Little buddy. Oh, God.
Oh, that got on my nerves.
Oh my God.
That just that got on my nerves, which was that part. And what's this button? Left eject. And what was funny is KITT's like, why don't you check it out, Chuck?
Yeah.
And Chuck's like, now you're talking, little buddy. And he pushes it and he goes flying. And Devon's like, I didn't see that KITT.
Yeah.
So,
but like it goes to show you that
once again KITT gets to star as his own little character.
Well, yeah, that, but it goes to show you that not anyone can, like, even if they were going through candidates, and that's kind of one I know it's only 40, 50-minute episode, because without commercials, obviously, because it's not a full hour, but I wish they would have somehow shown us more than one candidate.
Yeah, they did show just Chuck Wally Burton. They only showed.
Yeah, they just did show him, and I think the reason why they did was because obviously at the end he comes in and says, "Oh, I'm the guy in charge of this case," blah 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 blah. But it's one of those things where it just goes to show you that no one can be KITT's partner other than Michael. It won't work.
Yeah. And I'm actually glad they didn't show more than one candidate, because I don't think it would have worked.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I'd rather deal with the alligator. All right.
I support endangered species, but this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
That was the one funny line in that episode that I thought KITT said that was neat. And the fact that, he ejects Chuck out of the car.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That was neat.
All right, we are moving on.
Ah, you must be Michael Knight.
How did you guess?
I'm Boyd LaSalle, and this is Linda.
Oh, yes, we almost met earlier.
Darling?
I know. Business.
Now, I understand you've been looking all over New Orleans for me. Why?
Because one of your errand boys framed me, that's why.
Willis? So what do you want with me?
I want my suspension lifted, I want my name cleared, and I want you to talk to Willis and tell him he made a very big mistake.
But you and I are natural enemies. As long as you're on suspension, I sleep better at night.
But I'm not going to be on suspension forever.
No, you're not. As a matter of fact, your status at the Foundation has taken another turn for the worse.
Well, what does that mean?
Thanks to my electronic wizard here, I've recently gained access to the Foundation's inner sanctum. We actually use your surveillance equipment to spy on you. Watch.
But Devon...
It was the board's decision, Bonnie, not mine.
But why?
Well, the consensus was that Michael was compromised. I'm sorry. I argued against it. I did everything I could.
Have you told him?
I'm trying to locate him now.
What are we going to do?
We're going to replace him.
Just like that?
We have no choice, Bonnie.
Seen enough?
All right, it is time to turn these scanners off. There's nothing wrong with this episode.
Nope, not a thing. It actually had a plot. It had a beginning, a middle, and an end. I'm just, it's an episode that speaks for itself.
Yup, it does. So with that, we're gonna move on to the next one.
Why did you try to kill Michael?
Because the poison didn't work. If I didn't get the one with the poison in it, Silly did.
Michael, I've isolated the poison.
Trail is a peculiar way to describe an orchid that can kill a man.
Sorry, I can't give you the antidote.
Bernard still has the antidote, and I'm guessing he's on his way back to L.A. right about now.
I'm surprised you're still with us, Michael.
Take off! Now! Kid, we gotta stop him!
Up next is Dead of Night. A young dancer ingests poison meant for Michael, who races the clock to find the only man with a clue to the antidote. Dun dun dun. Well, apparently the internet hates me. Apparently iTunes and everything else hates me, and apparently Dion hates me because I don't have the DVD set. But anyway, Dead of Night. This is all you. Explain the plot to myself and everybody else because I have not seen this episode.
All right, for those of you who have not seen the plot, and as TFG1 Mike just explained, kind of the synopsis, there are some orchids that contain not only an antidote but poison, and if you ingest the poison in your system in this plot, you can die from it. But the flower also contains the antidote that will cure you. And so, also, if you put the same type of poison in orange juice, it will digest in your system, but a lot slower. Michael has to race to find this antidote, take down the bad guys, arrest them all, put them in jail, while he himself has been poisoned with the antidote. Or I'm sorry, with the poison, not the antidote. He himself has been poisoned with the poison and save his own life. So that's pretty much the whole plot within a nutshell. I don't really know how you would explain this episode except to...
Did you like it?
Yeah, it's all right. It's not one of those ones where you're going to go back and watch it and say, you know what, this is my favorite episode. I'm going to watch it again and again and again. It's one of those ones, kind of like in a lot of the seasons before that we've talked about, like in season 1 or in season 2, that we can tolerate. It's a tolerable episode, and I don't care if tolerable is not a word, damn it is now. It's one of those ones, like I said, you can tolerate it, but it's not one of those ones that's enjoyable. So if you can watch it and you can stand it, you're fine. If you can't, flip to the next one.
Okay. Alrighty then. Well, why don't we just go ahead and get all the scanners on and off stuff out in this one clip? What did you like about this one?
I did like the fact that there was action. I know that there's action in every single episode of Knight Rider. I realize this. I did notice that Michael got more hands-on in this one, because in the beginning of the episode, Michael breaks up a deal, and there's a young girl that supposedly in the episode is from St. Louis, and she's 20 years old and she dies, and no one knows who she is. And they're trying to find out who Paul Renard is. Paul Renard is the bad guy who has all these orchids. And he says that an associate of his knew the Foundation for Law and Government and Michael Knight. So I would have loved to have known who that associate was. Unfortunately, we never know because it's never revealed.
Ah. So what is bad about the episode? Just those things, or?
Oh, dear Jesus. Wow. Are you there?
Yeah.
Okay, that was weird. I thought I lost you for a second.
No.
What's bad about it is the music changing in well, there's several things. One is the music, and two, just kind of the fact that you have a person who's supposed to be dying. Well, two people that are supposed to be dying. One, you don't really send to the hospital immediately. I mean, okay, if you've been poisoned, you'd think you'd want to send that individual to the hospital.
Yeah, you'd think.
She doesn't get there. She doesn't get there to the end of the episode, and or so you think. That's what you're made to believe. And Michael is still gallivanting around the city, as it were, with the poison in his system, and he should have gone to the hospital. And it's like, all right, why don't they have Devon take over and drive in KITT? I understand that that's Michael's car, but Devon has also been one of the main people that responds to KITT, and so is Bonnie. Or why didn't they get a substitute person to take Michael's place while this is going on? Or better yet, why didn't they get RC3 maybe as some...
Well, hold on now. You can't say RC because we have not seen him yet, because he doesn't come in until later.
Okay, if not RC, then and that's fair. If not RC, someone like Michael that has his qualifications and that KITT would respond to, or something to that effect. Because, like I said, you see Michael get poisoned, and he's, in KITT, and he's trying to stop Renard and the rest of his gang delivering these poisonous orchids and things like that. So it's I see where you're saying don't say RC3 yet.
Well, because we haven't even met him. I mean, he hasn't even been introduced yet.
Yeah.
So
and if not him, then someone with Michael's qualifications.
You could have just brought back Agent Wally Burton.
Nah, that's.
And on that note, we're going to move on to the last episode of the day.
When I saw him today, he shot past me like I was a stranger.
What else could be affected?
It's memory modules, information banks.
Losing one's memory is so embarrassing.
You see, there's this guy looking for you named Michael. He says you're his.
What does he look like?
KITT! We're coming to the edge!
Turbo boost. Press.
Yeah!
Move, or I refuse to be responsible.
So the last episode of the day here is Lost Night. After Michael and KITT are separated in an explosion that erases the car's memory, KITT befriends a boy, played by, holy crap, a young Jason Bateman, being chased by thieves who think he can identify them. Dun dun dun.
I did not know that was Jason.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. Yep.
Not really sure what to say about this episode.
It's interesting, I'll say that. I liked it. It isn't one of those ones where it's like, oh, please hurry up.
No, it's not one of those ones. But I do like the exchange between Conrad and Michael.
Oh yeah, the bathroom scene.
The bathroom scene where he comes. Obviously, he's walking out of the shower and he's got a towel around him, and Michael's like, "Hello, Conrad." He's like,
yeah,
that was kind of funny.
That blonde was a little dissy though.
Yeah, she was. Hey, at least it wasn't Mickey.
It's true.
Gotta give her that. Wasn't her?
Very true. Yeah.
The plot for this one, it wasn't interesting. Like you said, it was an interesting episode, but again, it's not on one of your enjoyable lists.
Oh no, not at all. Well, it's on one of those enjoyable lists where you can watch it every 3 years or something like that. It's not like a Goliath, or it's not even like a Night in Disgrace or a Junkyard Dog or something like that. But like I said, when I rewatched this, I thought it was really interesting. I thought it was pretty cool, and I thought it was decent. So I mean, it could be on a most watched list, I guess. It just depends on what your most watched list looks like.
Right. And the fact that Doug has to kind of teach KITT a lot of things because he has no memory. He can remember some things, but not all.
Right.
About himself. He knows he can drive by himself.
Yeah.
The fact that he can't remember to turbo boost. Well, he does, but he says don't push turbo boost. Something tells me you shouldn't touch turbo boost.
Yeah.
So, and then what was scary was when they were driving, Doug's in the car, and KITT's like, I remember now, turbo boost. And Doug's like, but you told me never to press turbo boost. And KITT's like, I've changed my mind. Press.
Yeah, press. Yeah.
And, they jump over the edge there. They come near the edge, they jump over it, and you see the two bad guys looking at each other like, oh, did you see that? And it was like, oh my God.
And that has one of the title sequence shots in it, I think. Or it looked like a title sequence shot to me with that.
I think it was. I'd have to watch one of the title shots again.
It's the shot where the camera angle is like on KITT's right side, but it's showing his tire landing, and it's showing that pasture that he lands in. So right. I think I honestly think it is a title shot.
That's kind of cool if it is.
So let's just turn the scanners on here. What do you got for good moments in this one?
Good moments are, we see another kid in KITT, which is kind of neat. The kid actually gets to drive the car.
Yeah.
In this one, and whatnot, and then, one of the other things I did like is the fact that we actually get to see Michael working underneath KITT instead of Bonnie. So this is the second time.
Well, yeah, this is the second time because the first time was Goliath Returns. One of those where it's like, we got to get you moving out of the desert.
Yeah, that was in that was in the first Goliath. Was the first Goliath, and then in this one here in this episode, you see Michael putting in his new memory bank and things like that. So he could basically override KITT, and KITT would remember who Michael is and that type of thing. So it's kind of like it was kind of good in this one, so that way nobody, it was an interesting episode, but again, one of those ones where you'd watch it every so often.
Yeah. All right.
I don't really have anything for Scanners Off. I really don't.
You don't at all?
Except for... there might be a few scenes here and there, but right now I can't really call them to... Well, yeah, I can, I guess. It would be the fact that they're sitting there fighting over nitroplastique versus finding KITT. You would think that you would tie both of them together somehow. KITT is obviously the property of the Foundation for Law and Government. Why is KITT out by himself? You know, you should be able to tie both, you know, and finding the nitroplastique, you know, and Michael's trying to convince Devon of that and saying, look, I understand the priority of the Foundation is to do these things first, but I also don't have KITT, so what am I supposed to do? There's no backup vehicle.
Right, yeah.
So I think that was those were my only two things.
Yeah, for me, it's pretty much like the back and forth between the two idiots of, oh, we should have killed the kid. Oh, it's just a kid. Let him go. Blah, 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 blah. You know, that... I kind of liked it, but I kind of didn't. And it is kind of explained, but it isn't really explained whether, what's his name, the stepfather or the boyfriend or whatever. It's like he's there. He's being all dumbassery, and then he's not there, and then the mother says, oh, well, maybe it was too soon, blah, 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 and I don't need a minute of life, blah, 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 but overall, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed how Doug explained stuff to KITT. I thought that was really interesting. But yeah, this probably isn't one I'll ever go back to.
Nah, I mean, I might watch it every so often, but it's not on my favorite top 10 list.
Yeah, no, not at all. Alright, so we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll come back to give ratings and close the show.
KITT?
Yes.
Shut up.
Coming to Grand Rapids, Michigan on September 21st and 22nd is GrandCon Gaming and Comics Convention, presented by Celebration Cinemas. Join us in playing or chatting it up with fellow enthusiasts in a community that understands your passions. Get lost in the adventure of your favorite role-playing game. Admire costumes and art from vendors and attendees. Meet the creators behind your favorite mainstream and independent games and comic books. Check out unpublished games and sneak peek at things to come. You can get all this and more at GrandCon. For more information, please visit www.grand-con.com.
So let's say you're looking for a podcast of your favorite 80s comic books, G.I. Joe, Transformers, Ninja Turtles, He-Man, etc. Where are you going to go to find us?
Welcome to Star Joe's Podcast. I'm your host, Ryan.
And I'm Chuck. That's right, everybody. We're the Star Joes. We host a podcast called Star Joe's Podcast, where we talk about your favorite comic books, your favorite toys of all the 80s properties.
Star Wars, G.I. Joe, Transformers, Mask, Thundercats, Voltron, you name it, we cover it. If it's in the 80s, we'll cover it at some point.
Yeah, so what you want to do to find us, you can go to iTunes, you can go to www.starjoes.com.
And remember, the Force will be with you.
Because knowing us is half the battle.
This is 80s action sensation Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I'm here to tell you about the podcast I produce called Punisher Body Count. It's the net's best Punisher podcast. Well, don't take my word for it. Listen to the hosts. Punisher Body Count is
a work in progress.
To listen to this great show, you can find us on iTunes. Just search Punisher Body Count or come to our website, PunisherBodyCount.com.
Is this thing on? Oh, goody. Why, hello there. It's your dear old Uncle Joker here. I bet you're asking yourself, what could I be possibly doing here of all places? Well, I'm laughing at the fact that this new podcast presented by Geekcast Radio is called Legends of the Dark Knight. Who the heck knew the Bat was so popular? Ugh. Join Steve, Mike can sometimes tower for reviews on the greatest DC animated universe cartoon to ever meet Gotham City. So join moi for the talk of the town, or I'll send Captain Clown after you. He gets mighty angry when he doesn't get to have his garbage skull. So put on a nice big smile and join us for the next Geekcast Radio Network podcast, Legends of the Dark Knight.
KITT.
Yes, Michael.
Just keep driving.
Alright, we are back, and it is time to give ratings for the episodes. What do you give Night in Disgrace?
Night in Disgrace, I have to give it a 5. Because it actually didn't fall apart in any part of the story.
Exactly, yeah. I agree. 5 kits for that one. What about Dead of Night?
4.5. Probably because it's just, I understand, okay, KITT loses his memory. You have a young boy.
No. That's the other. No, no.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Dead of Night.
Dead of Night. The poison story. I'm sorry. The reason that I give this one 4.5 is because, okay, Michael's poisoned. This young dancer is poisoned. You've got 2 plots. I mean, you sort of have 2 plots in a sense. One is to stop a bad guy, yes, but the other plot is, okay, you have to find this guy who's selling these, or not selling, but has these orchids, and it has an antidote and a poison in them. So, alright, you're not going to have somebody substitute for Michael while he's in the hospital, per se. And it just as well could be Devon, so I'd say 4.5 for this episode.
Not having seen the episode, but having you describe it to me, obviously I can't rate, I'm not going to rate something I have not actually watched myself, but it kind of the way you're explaining it with the whole 2 different plots in it, it sadly reminds me of Race for Life.
Oh, God, no, not again, no!
Alright, so Lost Night, what do you give that one?
Alright, here's where I confused the 2 plots, and I'm sorry. Lost Night gets a 3.
Really?
Yes, because now, granted, computers can have strange hiccups. KITT is a computer, it loses its memory. You have a young boy trying to teach KITT what it should know, or doesn't remember, I guess you'd say. And, KITT doesn't remember who his owner is, and you've got someone trying nitroplastique. Come on now. Really? Seriously? Okay, no. Absolutely not.
Alright, why don't you inform the fine people where they can find your other stuff?
Well, my other stuff you can find at www.sky106.net. I do a show from 6 to 9 p.m. Central Daylight Time, 7 to 10 Eastern. You guys that are living on the Pacific, you guys can figure out your time zones, because I'm not that nice and I'm not going to convert, okay? Okay. Anyway. And it's
if it's 7 to 10 Eastern, that would be 4 to 6 Pacific, I believe.
No, 4 to 7.
Okay, 4 to... Well, see, there you go. You just figured it out.
No, I knew that. It's just you're doing all these different time zones for people, and it's like,
Eastern time is the only time that matters.
Eastern, Central, you've got your Pacific, and all that.
Yeah.
But anyway, our website, www.sky106.net. Send us feedback up there. Follow us on Twitter. Of course, yes, our MSN link is still up there.
MSN is dead. It's now Skype.
I am sure, not according to the page on Microsoft. You have until April 8th.
Well,
now, unless that's changed, I don't know.
Anyways, keep going.
Anyway, follow us on Twitter, MSN. Yes, it's still there. Our link is still there. I will have to obviously inform the manager of our station, but I'm sure he knows. Great. Follow us on Twitter. Check me out Saturdays, unless I happen to do a fill-in show. Music Man's Mayhem, along with Mr. Fist Michelle, that is my co-host. We do a show every week, and it's a lot of fun.
Alrighty then. For you, the listeners of Beyond the Night, no, that's, damn it, edit that. Damn it, oh well. Thank you for joining us here on Beyond the Night. There is always get in contact with us or leave feedback for the show. Visit the website, geekcastradio.com. Email us, feedback@geekcastradio.com. We are working. I've got Steve, our tech guru, on the whole iTunes thing, so maybe he can find us a way around to get into iTunes. So we're working on that. Follow us on Twitter, @Beyond the Night is the show's Twitter. You can also follow myself, @TFGMike, or follow @GeekCastRadio for all the GCRN updates. Become a fan on Facebook. Go to facebook.com/GeekCasterRadio Network. Call the voicemail line. Tell us the show you're leaving the message for, and your name, 502-526-5821. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Beyond the Night and wish you'll join us next time when we'll be reviewing 3 more episodes from Knight Rider Classic Season 3, those being Night of the Chameleon, Custom Made Killer, and Night by a Nose.
Okay. Never mind. Let's just keep going.
For now, I am TFT and Michael with
the Music Man 08.
KITT, close the show, because I gotta find out what the hell is going on now.
You turned off my homing signal. I truly hope part of your plan wasn't to have Devon monitor our position.
Well, it was, KITT. But after what LaSalle said, I couldn't risk Linda and her daughter's life.
No, of course you couldn't.
We partners again?
Butch and Sundance.
Butch and Sundance.